Welcome to Lift Up, a short-form spin-off of the Behind the Wind podcast. Lift Up was created for quick, meaningful conversations, short episodes that explore timely ideas, practical lessons, and thought-provoking topics across leadership, growth, business, and life. Each episode is designed to offer something you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Think of it as a spark, concise insights, real perspective, and actionable takeaways delivered in just a few minutes.
For this week's episode of Lift Up, we'd like to share with you the keynote speech that our own Sam Beasley was asked to give at the 2026 Hill Industry Partner Exchange. He shared valuable insight into why some partnerships work and some do not.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, all it's got is a little clicker here, so this should work. All right. First of all, I just got to say, I don't know who's at greater peril, the speaker before lunch or the speaker before cocktails. But what I can tell you is that to Mr. Gray, the gentleman who will be following me, may God have mercy on your soul. All right. So today, by the way, great talks today. I sat in several of them. I don't expect that this is going to be earth-shattering information. The key takeaway from this presentation is that you don't take care of the little things up front. You will find out later that you have not done that when you're faced with specific challenges. All right, so obviously, given the theme of the conference, no need to tout the values of partnerships. Our earlier commencement conversation related to moving from just in time to just in case clearly identifies or highlights the fact that going forward, partnerships are really the only way we're going to make it through this. So I want to give some brief context. Sorry about that. Let me go back. LSI, we've been around for a little over 50 years. I want to spend a bunch of time on this, but our focus is really where government, industry, and operations intersect. One of our primary contracts is focused on logistics. So, and it's in support of a fairly significant organization you may be aware of. This is the California Aerial Firefighting Organization. And in support of that, our folks are primarily responsible for warehouse management, parts procurement, et cetera. But in order to deliver on the mission of this particular organization, we're required to interact with dozens of other organizations, be it the maintenance teams, the state, the pilots, et cetera. So we understand in a very real kind of way what it means to execute in a multi-layered organization. So the question becomes, why do partnerships fail, or when is really what's more important? What we'll see is that partnerships become to turn into a bit of a crucible when certain fairly foreseeable events occur, but you haven't planned for them. For example, you have, say, 3 companies that are partnering together, but they're at different portion or timelines in their economic development. So you may find a company that is focused on margin. You may find a company that is primarily looking to break into a particular area, so their focus is on relationship. And another company, maybe their margins are super tight, and so what they're looking at is just trying to survive. If you don't have those financial objectives aligned ahead of time, when the work lands and pricing is defined, suddenly those partnerships start to crumble. Undefined ownership, right? This happens in all kinds of different ways, but you may have a team that you feel is very well structured, that has all the right pieces in place, but if you haven't clearly enumerated who's got the ball, when the work comes, suddenly there's a lack of ownership and things fall through the crack. You may be well positioned to handle the work, but if you haven't explicitly laid out, this is who's handling what, you put yourself in a position to fail. Everybody loves communication theater, right? We have stand-ups. If you're having these meetings that are really about performative activity rather than bringing forward problems to be solved, then these meetings are not valuable. So what actually works? Strangely enough, alignment is not absolutely critical, right? What's important is that there's complete clarity in terms of who you are and who's going to be handling what, and what responsibilities lie with whom with regard to things like escalation. Trust, right? Some people think initially that a good partnership is born out of trust, but it's our perspective that really trust is born out of structure. So well-formulated partnerships whereby there's clear lines of demarcation and delineation make it easy to believe that your partner is going to be where they need to be when you need them to be there. So, what causes partnerships to break? When things like surge demand occurs, right? When supply chains are disrupted. What about when financial priorities change from a global or economic perspective? If you're not prepared for those things, if you haven't thought ahead to see that those things are coming, then the fact that you guys have put this great partnership together, that you may have a strong trusting relationship, puts you in a situation where this is where you're going to fail. So, as I mentioned, LSI sits within this structure constantly, especially as it relates to our work with CAL FIRE. But as we discussed early this morning and throughout the various breakout sessions today, the organizations that will win in the future are the ones that build strong partnerships that help shore up the weaknesses of their own company, as well as helping fill the gaps that the federal government needs solved for as well. Let's see here. So, I guess, in short, partnerships work well when the partnerships aren't just well communicated, but when they work excellently together, dealing with the disruptions and the challenges that they have planned for ahead of time. I think I've got a question slide here, but I think with that, I will go ahead and pass the ball off to Mr. Gray.